What is going on, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Revived. I am your host, as always, Shane Craig, and joining me is the lovely Jessi Craig.
Hello.
If you don't know, Podcast Revived is where Jessi and I discuss the last month or so worth of tech news. We kind of go over, we'll give our opinions and just have a nice conversation about the going on in, is it going on or the goings on? The going ons? Who knows?
I think it's goings on.
Yeah, they all sound dumb. They all sound wrong for some reason. Anyways, we have conversations about tech here on this particular podcast. We post them on YouTube as well as on every major podcasting service, be it Spotify, iTunes, Google Podcasts, and alike. So wherever you may be watching or listening, hit that like button if you do enjoy this episode. And if you want to support the show, head down to scaryifliteral.com or over to our Flatter page. Both links are in the description. That's enough introing, I think, for any podcast. So the biggest thing that's been going on over the last, really the biggest thing that's happened in the last couple of months probably, is Windows 11. And I know that you've had some limited time with Windows 11. And I don't know.
Very limited.
Very limited. And I don't know what kind of conclusions you've come to in the amount of time that you've kind of played around with it. But I wanted to start off this way. We put Windows 11 on the Surface Pro 7 that you use occasionally. It's an i3 model Surface Pro 7. So we put Windows 11 on there. There are times, would you say that your primary non-phone, laptop-y tablet device is probably your Chromebook Duet?
It's actually still my Samsung.
Okay, so you're still using, so we've got a lot of stupid devices here. So she's got the Lenovo Chromebook Duet, which is a good device.
And I use that one when my Samsung's dead.
Sure.
I go back and forth.
But you've been using, as of late, the Samsung Chromebook Pro from Samsung, and this is the version 1 Pro because that was the best one. They screwed the screen up on the second model. They made the screen. They did something to it. I think it was like lower resolution, but that thing's screen. It's a 3:2 aspect ratio, super high resolution, awesome screen. So you use that thing primarily. So I put the Surface back in your hands again and said, try to use this a little bit. Early first impressions. What do you think of Windows 11? Do you think it would make you think it would do it enough to make you want to use that over your Chromebook, and maybe talk about what you use your Chromebook for and how the Surface Windows 11 makes any difference to you in that regard?
To be totally honest with you, I don't think that I would want to use the Surface a lot because I have this weird hang up with the detachable keyboards.
Okay.
I know it's like everybody's favorite thing, but they just feel so, I don't want to say flimsy, but they just feel really soft.
Well, compared to a keyboard that's on a laptop, it is going to feel flimsy. So.
Right, yeah, and I really love the keyboard on my Samsung Chromebook, so I love that one. So I really I don't know, to me, it's just not what I want to feel in my hands. But as far as Windows 11, I do think it makes it a little bit better, but I would have to use a different browser than Edge because Edge just, it's integrated with Bing, and I hate Bing.
You can change your settings on that stuff. You can change the default search away from Bing and do these things as well. I actually think Edge it basically is Chrome. You would just have to change some settings to have it be defaulting to whatever search stuff you would want to be using.
Right, I would have to because I hate Bing so much.
Yeah, Bing's not very good. How did you feel in terms of the touch controls? Did you play around much with anything like that? Or were you pretty much just using your trackpad?
No, I actually didn't use the trackpad at all. I only used the touch screen, but I didn't do like any of the fancy gestures or anything.
Sure.
I think I was just using like one finger, which honestly works for me. Like at work we have touchscreen computers and I'm on them pretty much all
Yeah.
day. And I really felt like it was very similar. Like I felt like I was at work, you know, doing everything I would normally do at work. I
Right.
just didn't have to do any of the three finger
Sure.
scroll or whatever. But as far as that goes, I mean, it's simplified. The taskbar down at the bottom, I like that because there's not like a bunch of random stuff on there. I mean, I haven't had time to like customize it or anything, but
Yeah.
I like it. Like for me, if I could have that on my Chromebook, like I would probably play around a little bit more with it. But I've already grown accustomed to using that one.
You like the
So,
form factor of a
yeah.
laptop better than a 2-in-1 tablet.
Yes.
So I think that's your big
Yeah.
hanging point there. Now, you know, obviously we've talked about this in the past, but like a lot of the Windows 11 stuff is built for people like you that are used to Chromebooks, to me, because, you know, you've got the center aligned icons, you've got the start menu that looks just like Chrome OS. You know, you've got a lot of stuff like that going on the notifications on the side are very Chrome OS looking as well.
I like that a lot. I do.
Yeah.
I like the widgets bar that comes to the side. I like that a lot.
Yeah, I like it too. I just wish that I could make it not open in Bing. Here's something else that
Yeah.
nobody's talking about that I think is really cool. On your lock screen, see if it'll be able to do this. Can you see as I'm moving it that the actual image is moving in like a parallax 3D kind of thing?
Kind of weird.
Separately. Like, yeah, it's like scrolling the image around. Like, I actually thought that was pretty cool, taking the pen off here. So, you know, for those that maybe don't know exactly everything we're talking about, I've got a full video where you can see this stuff much better, so please watch that instead. But I'll kind of talk about some of this stuff. The widget menu there, you know, works really well. She's talking about that. You've got your notifications there out from the side, which I have no notifications, so it doesn't have anything there. But that looks much similar to Chrome OS.
Yeah,
the start menu is Chrome OS. Your quick settings are Chrome OS. Like there's so much Chrome OS DNA in here, and I don't think that's a bad thing. A lot of people kind of wanted to like poo-poo that, but like I think it's fine.
Who cares?
You know, rotation seems to be a bit quicker than before. Ooh, didn't mean to click on that, but it seems to be a bit quicker than before as well. I've had people ask me about performance and battery life. I would say that performance, like moment to moment performance, like, you know, just browsing around and just doing things on it, I would say that the performance is very good. I don't know that I can say that it's better than Windows 10, but it's definitely not worse, and it might be better. It feels very snappy. Everything's very quick. And even on your i3 model, this is the i5 model here, but even on the i3 model, I assume you didn't experience any moments where it was chugging or having any problems. It seems totally fine. Now in gaming, they both still suck at gaming. That's just never going to change. There's not enough thermals. The thermals are terrible, is what I should say.
I played like something on there.
Stardew Valley, Graveyard Keeper, these kind of retro games, sure, but like Valheim runs at like 20 FPS.
Yeah,
with
not going to do anything serious.
With a fan blowing against the back of it, because it just gets too hot and it thermally throttles.
I remember that.
Is what it is, and that's not changed, obviously. Battery life on the Surface Pro 7 Windows 11 seems about the same to me. It's fine. It's not incredible, but it's pretty good. It's not as good as my Tab S7, which is around here somewhere, but it's pretty good. Touch controls, I do think, are better. I think it is interesting if you talk about it in comparison with the Tab S7, which is here. You know, I've talked about how one of the reasons I really like this thing is because it runs Android apps, obviously. And it runs Android apps in a desktop style setup, which I really like. And of course, we've talked about how Windows 11 is going to be bringing on board Android apps. And once we get there, once that happens, I feel like this thing is going to get... I mean, there's some things I really like about it, but I kind of feel like it might get left in the rear view for the Surface Pro 7. The biggest thing is because I like a taller display. You know, this is 16 by 10, but 3 by 2 is just better.
Well, see, that's what they started doing on the new Chromebooks too. Is they mess with the aspect ratio.
Yeah, there was a minute where everybody was doing 3 by 2, and then they started getting shrinking it down again, which I don't like.
That's wrong.
3 by 2 is just better for most things other than watching TV and stuff. 3 by 2 is just better for me. But I mean, so far, I think that the biggest winner with Windows 11 is going to be devices like the Surface, because it just works better on a touchscreen and it looks good. And once Android apps arrive in the store, it's going to be game changing. I really believe that. I really think it's going to be absolutely game changing, especially if, you know, we're talking about apps that are in the Amazon App Store coming to Windows 11 in the near future. That's huge, you know, for me to be able to have my web browser open and then, you know, kind of pinned next to it with these cool new, you know, UI for split screen view, which we've talked about in another video as well. Have your browser up and have the Twitter app open, or, you know, whatever it is you want to use. I think that's going to be really, really handy. It's going to be really useful for people. So sticking with Windows 11 just a little bit more, in particular running on weird devices. I made a video. Let's see if I can pull something up here so I can kind of show what I'm talking about. I made a video talking about how somebody actually ported Windows 11 to a device, an old Lumia phone, the 950 XL. Let's see if I've got, do I have this set up to display capture, or is this going to totally freak this thing out? Let's find out. Yeah, no, totally going to freak it out. So I need to put this over there, and there we go. So it's a phone. It's an old Lumia phone, and the way it's set up, it can run Windows on ARM, and people have done a lot of work towards porting the ARM version of Windows to this phone. So now, of course, they ported Windows 11 to it. Now, I don't know if you can imagine a phone running Windows, not like Windows Phone, running actual Windows where you got a start menu and your things open up a window in a window and you drag them around.
That seems wrong. Doesn't seem right.
No, it doesn't. And it like the UI is terrible for a phone. However, this got a lot of people talking, and of course I had to make a video about it. People want some of the people that are Surface Duo fans are way into Windows and they don't like Android. So this got me thinking, and I don't know if there's any more to talk about here necessarily, but the idea of you've got your Surface Duo with your two screens, your two wide screens, which would make this sort of nonsense a bit better. And imagine, you know, a little taskbar down here with the icons. And imagine that it's just running Windows apps. It will be the ARM version of Windows, but imagine it's just running Windows. And then Android apps will be supported in Windows. Yeah. It's an interesting thing to think about, because you've got a dual monitor setup here. It is an interesting concept. It's not going to happen unless hackers do it. Microsoft is not doing this. Yeah. But it just immediately got me thinking, like, how strange would that be? Now, there's things like, you know, obviously having apps open in their own windows. Would you want that? I don't think you would. I think you'd want them to open full screen, and then maybe you could split screen them manually, but you wouldn't want to have them open with like a little bar at the top. Like, you wouldn't want that. That would look really bad, and it would take up space. But, however, you take the same device and you scale it up to Surface Neo, and now you've got exactly what we're talking about, but it's big enough to make sense, and it would be freaking awesome. I think Surface Neo running Windows 11 with Android apps coming, how fucking cool would that be? Just take Duo and scale it up, and then put Windows 11 on it with Android apps.
Heck yeah. I mean, Neo itself, is going to be kind of a game changer, because isn't it just the Surface but bigger?
It's a Surface Duo, but just giant. Yeah.
Right. Surface Duo. I left the Duo off. Yeah. Just a really big Surface.
Yeah, just a big Duo. Now, they do actually have a Surface Studio that is a big Surface.
Is it big?
It's big. Well, I mean, what do you I'm just curious, like, because I know that, like, most people aren't going to want a Surface Neo. Most people aren't. You show them something that's like this, but big. It's two big touch screens, but it's, larger. And most people are going to be like, what? Why do I need two screens? What is this for? But some of us know exactly what it's for, and it makes sense to us. It's for multitasking. I don't imagine you ever having any use case for something like that.
No.
I think you're totally.
I'm not a multitasker. I can't do it.
Yeah, I can only multitask is my problem. I can't monotask. I can't do one thing at a time.
I think that I'm multitasking, but what I'm doing is I'm just trying to do two things and I'm getting distracted from one thing and I'm on to the other one. Like when I had my was it the what was it? It was my LG phone that had the dual screen case on it.
The V60.
The V60. When I had that, I thought that I was multitasking, but I would just ignore what was ever on the screen and just do what I was doing on the other one. And I was like, I'm not utilizing this.
This is not multitasking. This is just rapidly switching between tasks and forgetting about the prior one.
Yes.
Yeah. So I'm pretty excited about Windows 11 in general, what it may hold for the future and so forth. I've talked about a lot of this in separate videos, so I'm not going to remember. I'll link to some of these in the comments. Or in the description down below, rather. And let's talk about... I guess we have to talk about the Surface Duo June update briefly. They didn't update anything. They just didn't. There's nothing in it.
Yeah.
So that has me thinking, your Pixel 5 is already running Android 12.
Mm-hmm.
Android 11 is out. My Fold has been running Android 11 since I bought it several months ago. The Duo still runs Android 10 because it's the Duo. I've not heard any updates to this, but the last rumors I heard was that Android 11 was coming in August. So my prediction is that June update was nothing. July update will probably be very small. And then maybe August is the Android 11 update. And then 2 months later, we get Duo 2. Mm-hmm. I think that's probably what they're doing.
So you think that they've totally just stopped working on the Duo altogether?
I think that they've stopped working on Android 10. I think that they're like, okay, like we're good with Android 10. Let's move on to 11. I think that's probably true. And you got to figure too that Duo 2 will be announced in early October. Mm-hmm. So you figure we're really not that far off. So how long?
Sorry, I was gonna ask. Did they say that they changed anything in the update?
Not really. No, the changelog just says that they improved device stability, which doesn't mean anything.
They say that every time.
Right. It also was 84 megabytes. So no, like there's nothing. There's nothing. It's too small. So keep in mind that Duo 2 will be running Android 11. We know this. And Duo 1's running Android 10. And they're not going to. It just makes sense that they have moved on to 11 on Duo 2. So that's kind of what I think is going to happen. Actually, I saw a post on Reddit earlier where somebody was like, oh, it's weird that there's been no rumors about Duo 2. That's not true. There's been plenty of rumors about Duo 2. It's just that the big publications aren't covering them because they don't think anybody cares.
Yeah.
So really quickly, I'm just going to, off the top of my head, run through what we know about Duo 2. We know that it is going to be a little bit thicker than the original Duo. Mm-hmm. We know that they are adding, I say no, 99%. We know that they're adding an external camera. So you've got your selfie camera inside. They're adding a camera to the outside. And this camera will almost certainly have a bump, which means that either Duo 2 will not close all the way in phone mode, or there will be a divot in the backside here.
Be a divot. They wouldn't just make it not closable because people are going to be like,
yeah, I think that would be a really bad idea. Right. It would be a bad idea. Thicker camera bump on the outside, probably a divot on the other side. The bezels, which honestly never bothered me, but the bezels are going to shrink, which would make the screens taller. Because I've saw people say, oh, I've heard Duo 2 will have a taller aspect ratio. That they're shrinking. They're shrinking the width. They're not shrinking the width necessarily. They're just making it taller, which is fine. because the bezels are shrinking a little bit. So fair enough there. What else? Android 11 will be there at launch. Modern specs, so Snapdragon 888, NFC, wireless charging may be there, but definitely NFC. So, I mean, there's been a lot of rumor. We know a lot about it already. It's just not getting covered. Nobody's talking about it. You're not going to go on The Verge and see a rundown of Duo 2 rumors because they just don't care. Because the Duo it's kind of already being looked at as like
a flop.
A flop, kind of a disaster, and like it's not really worth covering, unfortunately. And it is what it is. Sad. I think that the second one's going to be a pretty big improvement, though, over the first one. The question is, hardware-wise, it's going to be much better. Software-wise, we got to see Android 11 to know what the hell is going on, because Android 10 has been a disaster.
Do you have any guesses about like aesthetically what it's going to look like?
Almost identical to the Duo.
Okay, so you think they're going to stick with the glass and it's going to be white or whatever?
Yeah, I mean, they wouldn't shock me if they added, because they tested a black color that was played with for a while, so it wouldn't surprise me if they threw in another black one, which I would love.
They need to go all out, get some crazy colors in there, make it look a little more rugged, a little more durable.
They like this
glass.
They like this glass aesthetic, and I do think it feels good. But I do also I've not seen this directly, or no one's told me this, but like there's no way that it's going to be the same shitty plastic on the edge. They're going to have to do something to strengthen that, because everybody's charging port broke. Like everybody's charging port broke. So that's going to have to get fixed as well. But it's going to look very similar to the original Duo, other than the things that I mentioned. It's going to look very, very similar from everything I've seen indicates that. I also see a lot of people asking, should I buy the Duo now at its diminished price, or should I wait for the Duo 2? And I made a video about this too, but I keep seeing this question a lot. And this is a question that evolves over time. Increasingly, no, you should not buy the Duo. The longer you wait, the more you should just continue waiting for the second one. Mm-hmm. At this point, you could get a Duo now for $500-$600. Absolutely. And look, maybe Android 11 comes out and it turns it into a whole new device, and it's just way, 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 way better. But I don't think that's probably going to happen. I think it'll be maybe a little bit better. But Duo 2 is going to be... You have to keep this in mind. Duo 2 the hardware is going to be so much better than the first Duo in terms of missing features. You're going to have a camera you're going to be able to use. You're going to have NFC. You're going to have a modern processor, which sounds like that's as big of a deal, but more RAM, modern processor, durability issues will be addressed. If you're going to bought this thing for $600, are you going to regret that in 2-3 months when you know that Duo 2 is that much better?
Yeah, and you can put that money towards the new one.
Sure. If you're not going to regret that, then whatever, go for it, buy it. But I think most people probably would. Like, I had the same thing. People say the same thing when I bought the Fold. They were like, "Oh, well, the Fold 2 is going to be out in 6 months. You're going to regret it." Here's the thing, though.
It's not going to be that much different, though.
It's not. The Fold 2 is not that different from the Fold 1. I mean, you're talking about this. It's the same cameras. It's going to fold. It's going to shut flat better. And they're getting rid of the hole punch in the inner screen. Mm-hmm. Like, the outer screen's refresh rate's going to go up, and it'll be more durable. But I'm like...
But the one that you have is a more complete product. The Duo has been sitting in here on its dock, or in your studio on the dock. Like, it's not been usable. So that's the difference between the two devices. Yeah.
The Duo has barely been touched. I'll pick it up just to mess with it, to see if anything's going on. But the Fold has been my device. And I mean, maybe this is a good place to do a quick, I've had the Fold now for, I guess I've had it. How long have I had the Fold now? It's been a minute, right?
Did you get it this year?
Yeah, it was this year. It's not been that long. Let's see here.
Is it early spring?
I ordered it. I have no idea. I have no concept of time. So let me look here. Let me look here and see. I think I got it in like March. Yeah, I got it in the middle of March.
Yeah.
So I've had it for like 3, almost 4 months. So maybe this is a good place to do a quick, where am I at on the Fold after 4 months of using it. And honestly, with the exception to, I have some paranoia that, and because I've seen this enough, that one day I'm going to open it up and I'm going to have that hairline stress fracture down the crease, which has happened to Mr. Mobile as well. It's happened to several people. They'll fix it for free. So there's that. I have some anxiety about that. But other than that, I absolutely love this device. It is one of my, it would already be in my top couple of devices all time. It is such a thorough product. It is software wise. It is rock fucking solid, constant. It just works. I love the Duo. If I was gonna make like a top 5 all time favorite devices, I think Duo is like
the Palm Pre. What was the other one?
The other Palm?
Yeah, would you have the 2 Palm phones?
I don't think I'd put them both in there. I think the Pre would make it, but the Pixie wouldn't. The Duo, I think, has to just be an honorable mention. I don't think I can put it in my top 5 because it's like...
Really?
I love it, but like, how can I put this in my top 5 if I didn't even fucking use it for a year?
That's true. If you can't use it, then why would it be there?
Doesn't make any sense to have it in there. It'd be an honorable mention. The OnePlus 7 Pro... absolutely solid. The BlackBerry Key 1 or Key 2, I forget which one ever I had last, could potentially be in there. The Pixel 2 XL, the LG V30.
The Pixel 2 XL was the one that I started with and you ended up with, right?
Yeah, we swapped after a while. Yeah, both phenomenal phones though. Both phenomenal phones.
Did you really like the LG 5? Or G5.
The G5 was good, but the V30 was better. So I would put the V30 in and leave the G5 out.
I would have swapped them. For me, I tried to use the V30 and I was just like, I don't know, it's just not quirky enough for me.
Well, it was huge at the time too. But I loved it. The screen looked great. Speaker was loud. It's a really good phone. The OnePlus 7 Pro is really good too.
How did you feel about your Motorola phone, the little white one? You like that one?
Oh man, the Moto X. I rocked that Moto X for like almost 3 years.
Yeah,
I
like
love
not white
that Moto
anymore.
X. Oh, it's gone. I think it got tossed out because I think it was starting to swell.
Did you really?
It was swelling. It was like becoming a fire hazard. I couldn't keep it.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So I got rid of it.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, the Moto X was awesome, and it looked ridiculous compared to modern phones because it's so tiny. But it was a great phone.
It would have been great for me. I should have been using that phone.
But back onto the Z Fold.
Sorry.
No, you're fine. It's a conversational podcast. I love the thing. The cameras are, you see people like, oh well, the S21 Ultra's camera's better. Yeah, it is. It is. But the Z Fold's camera is really good. I can't tell you when I pulled it out, took a picture, and went, this picture looks like shit.
Yeah, it hasn't happened.
It's good. It's fine. The picture it takes good pictures.
And you've been using it more than you ever used the Duo for pictures. I mean, you took a lot of pictures on the Duo just to mess with it.
Primarily just to see if I could get a good picture with the Duo. But like with the Fold, I know I'm going to get a good picture. Like it takes good pictures. Battery life has been good. And I hammer it. Like I hammer this thing. It gets used a lot. And the battery life is fine. I mean, really, like the screens don't get as bright as I would like outside, but they're not unusable. I'd love it if they were a little bit brighter. Like what are my problems with the Fold? What do I not like about it? I use the wireless charging. You
probably would like it to be a little bit more waterproof.
Yeah, I mean the fragility thing, I am a bit paranoid about it, but I mean, nothing's happened. I don't even have any damage to it. If I peeled my screen protectors off right now, it would look absolutely pristine. There's literally nothing has happened to this thing. And as of late, the last 2 months or something, I've been using this really thin polycarbonate kickstand case, but on the back side, like, it's absolutely pristine. And this thing feels like a brick. Like, there's this perception that they're just super fragile. The inner screen can stress fracture over time, but if I fucking threw this thing at your head, it would hurt. And I think it would hurt you more than it might hurt the phone. It is solid as a rock.
Yeah.
So, I mean, right now, it is 11:05 a.m., and I'm at 92% battery. And I know that I've used it. I've used it a decent amount.
In comparison, I'm at 88%.
Yeah. Battery life is good. I mean, it's really
mine's
solid.
Mine's a Pixel phone. They've been like working on their battery too, so.
Yeah. It's really, really solid. I'll probably try and write out like a good multifaceted kind of review for this. Let me know if you guys would want to see me really go into the Fold and how I've been using it and do a video on that. I may do that. I need a new video idea to work on anyways. But it's been really good. I've really got no complaints with it. And I mean, if you're talking about how much money I spent on the damn thing, well, to get it and to get the tab, am I regretting that purchase? There's part of me that just hates spending money in general, but I don't look at it and be like, I shouldn't have bought you. And unfortunately, there were moments I looked at Duo and went, this might have been a mistake. I maybe shouldn't have done this. So no such feelings with the Fold. But, keep in mind, I do still think that the Duo is the more interesting design, and it's the design I'm more excited about. But the Fold executes on its design so much better software-wise than the Duo does, that it fills in that gap. And as for do I find myself doing the multitasking stuff with the Fold? Not as much as on the Duo, but I'll give you a good example. I was logging into Mint to track our finances the other day, and I was having to key in, maybe do an email verification and a phone verification, which, whatever, it's a financing thing, so fair enough. But while I'm doing that, I just turn the thing sideways. I've got Mint here, and I've got my email here. I long press the code, I drag it over, hit submit, sends a text message, I swipe over, bring in my text messaging, open it up, drag it over, and hit submit, and it works great. This idea that you can't multitask on the Fold like you can on the Duo, bullcrap. Yeah, you can. I do it all the time. I do it probably a couple times a day, and it works really well. It's not as good as it is on the Duo, but it's better than on anything else besides the Duo. It's like if this is a 10, this is like a solid 8. It's not like it's garbage. No, it's really good. It's really good. And then if you want to take a photo from time to time, this is probably the one you should have bought. You factor it all together. Don't get me wrong, I love the Duo, and I think that the Duo 2, it's like that gap there of the gap between the two where it's you're here and it's multitasking, and then you go photography, wireless charging, NFC, battery life, software, and it just keeps doing that.
Yeah.
I think that speakers, video consumption, I think that with Duo 2, we're going to start doing this a bit. And I think it's going to get much, much, much closer. Do I think it's going to flip-flop? I don't know. I'm yet to see enough to make me think that, but possible. And I would love it if it did happen. Don't get me wrong, because I love this. I love 2 screens. That is still incredible to me. So I hope that it does happen. Do I think it's going to? Probably not, but I do hope that it does. So I guess that's really all I've got for the podcast today. I don't really have anything else that's going on that I want to talk about. We had a good run on YouTube over the last week and a half. Our views were up really high. We closed out June really, really well because a bunch of stuff happened and I made a bunch of videos, but now there's not as much going on for me to talk about. So now we're kind of in a lull again, and I got to get that momentum going again. Because our last few videos went 24, 24, 36, 21, 33. We were that's 1,000, by the way, 3,600, 2,400, 2,300. We did pretty good over those last several videos, but then nothing happened for a while. So we got to find stuff to talk about. So I guess that's going to be the end of this month's episode of Podcast Revived. Like I said earlier, head over to scaryfliteral.com for links to all of our stuff, like our Twitter accounts, which are up here above our heads as well. Ways to support the show by a direct donation or through Flatter, which is a subscription service, kind of like Patreon, but with no. First off, it's anonymous, and second, there's no like tiers. You just pick them out you want, and there's no like private content. It's all still open to everybody, which is cool. So there's a thing there. Yeah. So thank you for joining me today, Jessi. My name is Shane. This was Podcast Revived, and until next time, stay nerdy, my friends.